Whether you're a senior golfer or somebody who feels like they don't have a lot of flexibility and are very stiff and rigid, then today's video is for you. I'm going to show you a blueprint swing that you can follow that's going to make you play better golf. It's no secret that as you get older, your body tightens up. You lose mobility and you lose a little bit of flexibility. Now that can negatively impact your golf swing for sure. And the reason for that is it restricts the amount you can rotate. So today's video is about giving you the blueprint that you can go through, looking at the address, the backswing and the downswing that can help you achieve what we class as some rotational freedom. So everything in today's video is going to be based around making sure that you can rotate freely and you can have that sort of effortless, relaxed feeling to your golf swing. So let's kick this video off by looking at the setup. Now, the purpose of the setup is to put us in a position to allow us to have this rotational freedom so we can have this effortless look to our golf swing. And the first thing that we've always got to look at when it comes to rotation is posture. Now, when it comes to posture, I would much rather you be as tall as possible and have a subtle amount of curve to the upper spine. Now, why is this? Well, let me just show you a little bit of an example for this. If I told you just to grab your club, and do this for me right now, stand up and pause the video. Grab the club and pull it across your shoulders. From here, just stand straight up and down and just turn as if it was your backswing. You can see here, I can turn well past 90 degrees, no strain on my voice. Is pretty easy to do so, right? Now what I want you to do is to stick your butt back, get your back flat or straight, and then from here, try and turn as far as you can in this position. You can see it's a lot harder for me to turn the more I bend over. So which position would we rather be closer to? Would we rather be closer to straight back as close to the ground as possible, or to the taller position? Well, it's obviously going to be the taller position. So with that in mind, we want to favor a posture that's closer to that taller position. So this is roughly what it will look like, and then let me give you a drill to help you get into that good position. If I set up to this golf ball in the posture that I would like you to have, you would see a little bit of knee flex. I always like to get the fronts of the kneecaps over the ends of the shoelaces or the balls of the feet. But then from there, you can see I'm very much having a soft amount of round in my upper back. My lower back is very neutral. Back edge of my butt is probably about a golf ball outside of my heel, and from there my weight is very evenly distributed between the toes and the heels. So in this position I feel extremely relaxed. I feel like I'm ready to produce a very nice effortless sort of pivot in my golf swing. Let me give you a step-by-step guide to find this posture. So what I want you to do is stand straight up and down for me, grip the club and just bring your arms up. Now from here, lower your arms down so you feel that connection with your arms and your chest. And then from there, just take all the tension out of your arms and just let them sort of just droop slightly. From this position, you can see my hips are level and my legs are straight. Keep your hips level as best as you can and your legs locked out straight. And I just want you just to round forwards until the club touches the ground. And notice how I have actually rounded my spine just ever so slightly. I don't want you to go crazy. Just let it just gently round forwards as you tilt forwards as well. And just let that club gently touch the ground. Now from here, just unlock your legs. Again, the amount of knee bend we want to have is front of the kneecaps over the balls of the feet. Hips are relatively level. Lower back's nice and flat. Soft little bit around to the upper spine. Suddenly, if you do that, you're going to find that it is going to be so much easier to get that rotational freedom. So the second setup adjustment that we can make to help you get some more of that rotational freedom is to drop your trail foot back. So I've got an alignment stick down here and obviously the golf ball there. When we set up in this position, we're obviously setting up relatively square. So if I was to turn, I would maybe be able to turn, let's just put a number on it, 45 degrees, let's say the hips have turned to. If I take that trail foot and I just drop it straight back, so I'm not going towards the camera, I'm just going straight back behind me, and let's say I've done it about a club head width from that alignment stick. Now you can see here, now I can actually get far more turns. So maybe I can get to 50, 55 degrees. Now, yes, this will impact your follow through a little bit, but if we think about what we're trying to do here, we're trying to produce a more repeatable, effortless swing. If we can get this club working shallower around our body with a better backswing pivot, we can naturally let that club then just swing to the right on the way down. Now, one thing just to note is the more you drop your foot straight back off this alignment stick, just move the ball position slightly further back. So like I said, the more you move it back, the more you're just going to nudge that ball slightly further back in your stance. So the final adjustment we're going to make at the setup is to just flare your feet. So when I see a lot of golfers, they set up with their feet very square, and this can just reduce or limit the amount of hip turn you get. So if you imagine there is a clock face in front of me, I've got 12 o'clock, which is the golf ball. I'm going to flare this trail foot to about 1 o'clock, and I'm going to flare this lead foot to about 11 to 10:30 on that clock face. Now from here, that is going to help me generate just a little bit more rotation on the way back, but also it's going to help me with that little bit more rotation and weight shift on the way through. So now you're set up in the best possible position to set yourself up for success. So now what we're going to do is transition onto the backswing, and we're going to have our focus on our trail hip. Now there is sort of one big no-no when it comes to the backswing, especially for senior golfers, those who have a little bit less mobility, and that no-no is as you swing back, you do not want to see that trail hip work laterally away from the target. As soon as we work that trail hip laterally away from the target, it limits our rotation and makes it very difficult to get into a good top of the backswing position. It also then means that we're going to have to work double time in the downswing to try and get back to our left side, which is ultimately going to make impact very, very difficult. What we want to see is if I was to draw a line down the trail hip, I would want to see you as you turn, feel like you can actually create a little bit of space, about a golf ball worth of space. So a great way of feeling this is to actually run through a good step-by-step process. So here's what this step-by-step process looks like. If you grab the golf club, and again, we're going to stand straight up and down with it on our chest or our shoulders right here. From here, just turn to your right or whatever way your backswing is, and just do that a couple times. Now, as you do that, pay attention to how that trail hip works. You'll notice that it doesn't work laterally, and if it does, it feels very, very awkward. It'll work sort of on this arc back and around. Now, the reason it works on an arc is because of the shape of the pelvis. The shape of the pelvis is actually sort of an oval shape, and if you imagine me twisting an oval, obviously this trail bit would work on an arc as I start to turn. So once you've done that a couple times and you've got that sensation of that trail hip working on an arc, then what I want you to do is keep the club on your shoulders and get into your golf posture. Again, that new and improved golf posture, a little bit taller, a little bit more round to the upper back, and try and again feel like you're creating that golf ball worth of space. That hip is turning back and around. Now you'll notice as I do this as well, look at my legs. My legs are staying very passive. I'm allowing my lead leg to gain a little bit of flex and work inwards, and I'm allowing my trail leg to lose that flex. That's going to be a massive key in keeping this rotational freedom, the key word of today's video, in place. And you can see as I'm doing this, I'm trying to just create about a golf ball worth of space. Now, once you've done that a couple times, the next stage is then to do a couple of rehearsal swings with your club. So then from here, we're trying to feel like we turn that trail hip back and around. Let the legs do what they want to do. Let them lose some flex as we turn back and around. And you can see as I do that, I'm then able to generate a really nice full turn. So what would it look like if we actually got that good hip depth and good hip rotation whilst we did those setup changes? So let me do the setup changes first. So I'm going to get into that good posture, drop the trail foot back and flare both of those feet. Then from there, I'm now going to feel like I arc that hip back and around, creating that golf ball worth of space. Let's take a look and see what that looks like at the top of the backswing. So you can now see how everything's worked a lot deeper. My hands are deeper this way, and actually they're in a much better position now to where if I just shift and turn on the way down, that club is naturally going to work down on a better plane. So ultimately what we're doing and what we're trying to do is we're trying to set ourselves up so we have to do the least amount of work as possible in the downswing in order to produce the best results possible. So we set ourselves up beautifully now for the downswing. And what are we expecting to see? Well, with everything that we've done, we've added that rotational depth and that hand depth to the top of the backswing. So as a result, we are going to be lending ourselves to what we class as that in to out pattern, very much a drawer's pattern. And I think for players that have lost a little bit of that flexibility, mobility, this is a great thing for you because it's going to allow you to still maximize your distance out on the golf course. One of the key things as well is when we dropped that trail foot back, yes, we increased the amount we could turn in the backswing, but we did limit a little bit of how much we could turn in the downswing. Now, is that necessarily a bad thing? In this situation, I'd say no, that's actually a positive, because again, that's going to encourage us to have this club dropping to the inside and swinging more in to out. What are a couple of checkpoints that we're looking to see as we're doing this? Well, as we look at the golf swing, two key checkpoints I want you to have a look at. Number one is in the downswing at what we class as this shaft parallel position. I would love to see either the club head in line or slightly behind your hands, and ideally either the toe of the club pointing straight up to the sky or slightly down to the ground in that position. As well as that, then on the way through, I want to be seeing that club exit nice and high in this position. So you can see the shaft is running roughly through my shoulder, maybe sort of more my lower neck right there. That's a great indication. Again, we've got the club working from the inside and up into a high follow through position. So let's now give you a visual guide, a drill, and a swing thought that you can use to help you improve your downswing. So let's start with the visual guide. And what I have here is an alignment stick outside of the golf ball. Now, rather than pointing this alignment stick down towards the target, I've actually orientated it slightly to the right of target. And again, this is for visual purposes because now I can sort of see this channel that is pointing to the right of my target. And this is very much the channel I want to be swinging my club path down. If I set up as if I'm heading straight towards the target and I just drop that trail foot back, I make that great backswing to where I get that good depth. Now from here, because of that alignment stick, I'm going to want to feel like I can get that little bit of a shift. I can let the club drop and I can swing on that in to out pattern, again, helping me produce that beautiful little draw shape. Let me give it a go for you. Again, this is something I love to do. It's very simple and just gives us that good visual guide right there. So let's now run through a great drill that's going to help you produce this good motion. So what I want you to do is grab the club with your lead hand and pop your trail hand behind your back. Again, normal setup, so great setup right here. And because we have that trail hand off the club, what we're going to find is in transition, the club's going to want to drop again onto that lovely in to out path. And then as we swing through, we can then get into that nice high follow through position. As we do this, we're going to start to feel like we can also fully release the club again. Because the right hand's not on, you're going to really get that effortless rhythm into your swing. And I absolutely love this drill because you could do it out on the golf course and it can just get you into that sensation where you feel the club drop and then fully releasing into that nice high follow through position. So the last thing to do is we've got to give you a simple swing thought that you can then take to the golf course. And again, it's going to promote everything that we've spoken about. So that simple swing thought is going to be an external thought. What does that mean? External means it's outside of the body. So we're going to put our emphasis on the ball and we're going to think we want to hit the inside quarter of this golf ball. So either you can imagine this golf ball is split into quarters and we've got this inside bit, or if you want to think of it as more of like a clock face, so you've got 12 o'clock, 6 o'clock is towards me. I'm going to be hitting it a little bit more from sort of 5 or 4:30 right here. Again, that's going to promote that beautiful in to out path, hitting it slightly from the inside part of the ball. Pick a dimple if you want to get really specific, but by all means you could just sort of think, okay, I'm just going to hit more from the inside part of that golf ball. So let me give that a go for you. Dropping that trail foot back, flaring the feet, good posture. Now let's let it rip and try and hit the inside quarter of that golf ball. That is the blueprint for a senior golfer or even just a golfer who lacks a little bit of mobility and flexibility. But make sure you send this to your buddy because ultimately we need to share the love and we want to get more people playing this game for longer. If you have enjoyed today's video, please give it a like and subscribe. It will really help out the channel and I'd appreciate all the support. If you do have questions as well, drop them down in the comment section as I respond to every question. I hope to see you back here soon.